What's up, YouTube? I just wanted to shoot a new video about the Escalade IQ, kind of as a follow-up to my kind of incoherent rant that I did and called it a review before. So this is going to be the part two. And I really wanted to kind of dive into a couple things here as far as what I probably could have been more fair about when seeing as I was calling it a review of the Escalade IQ, a couple of things that I had issues with and how I fixed them, and also touch on my repurchase or buyback, the attempt that I did with GM. So I'll kind of just skip right to that. It took about 13 weeks or so of me requesting for them to do a buyback, and they never did it. They didn't end up denying it. So that took 13 weeks of emails, and then they just said no. So that was a pretty big bummer there. Also kind of contributed to why I was ranting about how much I disliked this vehicle. But yeah, that also was because it was in the service center a lot, and they were giving me terrible rental cars, and it was sitting in there. So it's not all about the vehicle being bad. My personal experience was a little bit rough, which kind of skewed me a bit. So let me go ahead, and we're actually going to jump in here, and I'll kind of do the rest of the talking while we're inside of the truck. All right, so let's run through a couple of the things that I changed that it really improved what I like about the vehicle. So one of the things, I wasn't really crazy about the seat. It just didn't quite feel right to me. It wasn't deep enough. I like it to really slant down and kind of sit with the front up a little bit more recliner-ish. So there's a company called Seat Jacker that makes these. They look just like that, and they actually just go right underneath there. It's not quite a perfect fit. I did have to order the ones for a Tahoe, but it doesn't rattle around or anything. Everything's rock solid. Just added those, not recommending them or anything, just saying I did that, and it made the seat more comfortable for me. It just makes the front sit up a little bit higher. I find that to be more comfortable. Jumping in, a couple other things that I did in here is going to be, as I get in, you'll notice that the vehicle did not turn on. It says no key found. One of my biggest complaints was that I like to leave my key in the vehicle when I park at home in my garage, but I still like to be able to, because I don't need to lock it then, and I still want to be able to use the features to turn on the climate control, preheat or cool it. Anyway, this is just a little Faraday pouch. But as you can see, the key is actually in here. So all I gotta do is just pop that out, and now we can go. So kind of did solve my problem there a little bit with that. Still more difficult than good phone as key system, but anyway, that's my solution, is a Faraday pouch. I'll probably do something a little bit more elegant with this and stick it somewhere in here. I'll just show you guys, I did hardwire a radar detector in. I like it. These are absolutely great. They really are a lifesaver. I don't know why more people don't use them, but anyway, I don't see a lot of people using radar detectors anymore. Moving on, inside the center console, it is just cavernous. It's huge. It didn't come with a center console organizer. This one was just 3D printed. All I did was literally, there was already a file on there. I ended up enlarging it, modifying it just a bit for my use, but I could, make it for exactly everything that I want to keep in it. And I even did a little cutout so that I could have my charger sit there nice and clean in the middle of it, and that doesn't rattle around. That really made things a little bit nicer in here for me. There's a lot of complaints about the non-convex mirror on this. Whether you know what that is or not, if you look at the passenger side mirror while driving, you'll notice you can't see anything in it the way that it comes. As you can see, there's a little stick-on mirror on there. That was my solution. That is a small, actually it's like 4.5 inch from Amazon, double-sided sticky tape mirror, but it does the job. It'd be great if that was bigger so I could really see even more in it, but that little 4.5 inch mirror works way better than the whole 9 inch mirror worked before that. Not elegant, not a perfect solution, but really makes a huge difference for me and makes me a lot more comfortable while driving. While I'm kind of showing you guys something I didn't ever really notice before. So you only have your two cup holders up here. There's actually a pop-out cup holder back there. I rarely use my back seats, so I didn't know that was there, but it is, and that is very, very reachable from the front seats. I love it. That's a great thing to have. You have just extra spots that you can move the cups that you're not using to the back. Anyway, another thing that I did was the sunshade is a joke for this thing, but if you get a good ceramic tint, you can, regardless of what percentage to block out the light you go with, you can actually get a good ceramic tint that will block out something like 80%, 90% of the heat without even changing the color if you didn't want to. I did go darker. I like the dark tint. One other thing that I did change on here, I'm going to hop out of the car to actually show you this one. If you look here at what the tire pressure says to load it to, it says 61 PSI in the front, 71 PSI in the back. That is crazy, crazy high. You do not, well, sorry, that is not I'm not recommending anyone do anything here. I am just saying that I decreased my tire pressure significantly and it made the ride a lot nicer. So if we actually get a tire pressure here, yeah, I went down to 50 in the front and 59. I was trying for 60, I guess. But either way, I went a little more than 10 PSI less than what they recommended, and it's nicer in my opinion. All right, so ignore my little phone mount here. That actually is all it is a cheap Amazon one that's literally just stuck on, but it works fantastic. If you are looking for a good phone mount, I tried a lot of them and that's going to be the best. That's actually where I stick my phone when I've been filming myself. Anyway, what I meant to show you here was I always had a struggle with these buttons trying to get through to change and change my audio source. And what I found that I hadn't paid any attention to is there's one extra button over here. And if you hit that, it will bring it up right here. And you can use this button to go up and down and change the source. That was really handy. That was something that I didn't like that I found to work. Well, I mean, it's not even a workaround. It was probably, if I read the instruction manual, it's always been there. And something that is not that I really had a problem with was that this vehicle, multiple times, it slammed on the brakes for when I really wasn't that close to hitting something. I still had plenty of time to stop, and it went in full-blown emergency mode and slammed on the brakes. What someone else on the Facebook page brought up and found out is that this following distance that all of us would think is only for when we're using the Super Cruise, it is not. This following distance, the gap adjust, is actually does impact when the emergency braking is going to kick in. So if you're like me and you don't want it to, you want it to really wait till the last second to slam on the brakes on you, put that all the way to the smallest gap. That does actually change when the emergency braking is going to kick in. And if you've ever been trying to like merge into traffic or fight somebody off so that they can't merge into traffic and it slams on the brakes on you, you won't like it. So anyway, I thought that was just something that made it a little bit better for me that I did like. Also the roomy entry, this button here, some people don't know what that does. That is so that you can set where your steering wheel and seat are when you're getting in and out. Really, it's not as bad as I made it out to be. I think I learned a couple of lessons there. There was a lot of really constructive, good comments. The video got a lot more views than I ever thought it would. And a lot of people said, hey, you're kind of just whining. You got the wrong vehicle. And I took that to heart. They're right. And that I have a couple lessons to learn there, where one was that I put a lot of money down on a lease, and that's a huge mistake. Never do that. I didn't think too much of it, but I was trading in a vehicle and I had lots of equity in that vehicle. So I said, yeah, apply that to the lease. That's a mistake. You can't, it kind of sticks you in the lease. I basically paid $1,000 of my lease down for the 24 months, and there's no way for me to get that back, especially now that they turned down my buyback request. I'm in the Escalade IQ and I have a very low monthly payment on it. That's wonderful. But yeah, there's no way for me to really get out. That's all right though. The other thing that I found out was, like some people commented on, this isn't the right vehicle for me. I like high performance. Whether that be off-road, whether that be on-road, maybe going fast. It's not that. This is a people hauler, and it's made for luxury. And turns out that's not what I really like. That's not a fault of it. That is just my opinion. So I kind of take back some of the things that I said about the lack of performance. It's not what it's made. It's not what it's made for. Yeah, would I have loved to see a tri-motor in this, like the Hummer? Absolutely, that would have been cool. But let's talk about what it does good. So it is very comfortable. I love the size. It's absolutely cavernous in here, and you really have some shoulder room. The exterior, the looks of the exterior, it's absolutely beautiful. It just catches eyes, and it is a good look. It's a good looking vehicle. The driver display is nice and crisp. I wish it had a little bit more to be customized. I do like that it has this third screen down here to be able to kind of use as a dedicated touch screen to do whatever you want on down there. The rear wheel steering is absolutely phenomenal. There's no use whatsoever for the arrival mode. It's kind of stupid and does nothing good, but rear wheel steering is absolutely fantastic. The turning radius on this is great, and you really can't beat that. It's got all the nice things that you would expect it to have. It's got the AC and heated seats. It's got the digital rear view is great. We do have a little knob here in the center to be able to control the screens. It has the passenger display. That's a cool party trick. Heads up display on it. That's wonderful. So overall, yeah, the vehicle is actually pretty good. It's not the vehicle for me, and because of that, there was a lot of things I picked apart. Particularly the key fob. That's just a thing. It's only your really new age software based vehicle manufacturers, your Tesla, your Lucid, your Rivian, that are going to have phone as key. That's really good at this point, but once you go to that, it's so hard to go back. So my takeaways here, it's not a terrible vehicle. It's not for me, but my original video would have said, run for the hills. This thing's absolutely awful, and it's just gonna, be a piece of junk. I take that back. It's, maybe I give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's not for me, but it is a nice luxury vehicle. The stereo is for some reason sounding better to me. Maybe it needed a little bit of a break-in time. Would I recommend buying it? No. Would I buy it again? Absolutely not. Would I drive by one and think somebody made a terrible mistake? No. I think there's plenty of people that would really like this car.